time for some Creamy Beaver time. So I just put that on in the last video on how to install it, and the reason why I used a used cork gasket is because I knew I was going to change it, because the new one was supposed to be here Friday and it never showed up. So it is what it is. So I took it back off, and I'm doing an oil change on this thing, and right now I'm going to be in the middle of checking that, and then I'm going to check the fuel gauge. But right now I'm just doing an oil change on this, and then I'm going to put a PCV valve on this thing, because it is getting a little bit of oil into the breather. Now I'm going to be starting to drive this car soon, as far as on a daily rotation between this one and the green car, now that I'm eventually going to be moving to Memphis soon, from Memphis, sorry, as far as my work. So I would never drive this thing into Memphis, because it'll just get ripped off, because you can pop these hoods. So this thing will be more of a driver. I'll rotate between this one and the green car, so that way I can put some more miles on it, because we barely put 3,000 miles on this car. We moved here in 2020, and this car's barely had 2,500 miles. So the oil, actually, when I said last video, hadn't been changed in 1 year. It's actually been 2 years. I changed it right when I got here, so that's not good, but it is what it is. So I'm going to do that. Then this one doesn't have a drain and fill on the rear end, so I'm going to put a plug in that one also too, and I'll do a video on how to do that. So anyways, I'm going to be doing this. This video will coincide with trying to get the fuel gauge to work. There could be possible three things: the actual gauge itself, sending unit. Now I put a new sending unit in it, or the little, I forget the name of it. I'll post it up here. I'll post it right here, what it's called, in just a second. But it goes on the back of the dash, and it plugs in, and it's like a resistor of some sort. It's like a relay. And I put a digital one in this when I did this last time. So we'll see what we got. Anyways, that's kind of the lead into this. And we're going to go take it for a drive, and we're going to give it the old Italian tune-up. We're going to floor this thing all around, and we'll video that. Alrighty. All right, so we're trying to get a gas gauge that works. So, I remember putting a sending unit in it, but I wanted to check. So what I did is I have this hooked up for a decent ground, and I'm going to check it real quick. So we got a ground, so that works. So then what I'm doing is I'm just kind of putting this on here, and then just kind of propping this up here like so. See if I can get the balance there. It gives me full throttle on the fuel tank. So that's down, so that way it's grounded, everything's good. All right, so now we'll go inside. So this will tell us what we need. Oh, by the way, Beaver's got her face down, ass up. That's the way we like to check things in the gas gauge. Anyways, here we go. So it is not really a full tank. It's only showing about a half. So I'm going to pull this dash out probably in another video. But I'm going to pull this thing out, and obviously too, the wife didn't tell me there's an oil light out. So I'll check that both at the same time. Now, when I pulled this dash out the last time, I soldered all the connections, and I gave it a bunch of grounds, and I put one of those brand new relays in the back of the dash. It's like a resistor of some sort. Drops down the voltage. But this thing should be showing, half at full tank, and it basically just gets barely over half a tank. So, and I was wondering about the temperature gauge, if that was working too, because those work in concert to each other. And the alternator is it's dead. That's been disconnected. So, I was checking the temps gauge, because it was really acting kind of funny, because even though I knew that it was, 180, 195 degrees, it was only barely showing on the second line, and I just knew it wasn't acting right. I totally forgot. I did put a drain plug in this car. So I'm draining out the fluid on this one, and it's been a while, but it does show in the book that I keep records on. It does show that I did a diff fluid change, last oil change. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Now this one's got the thick stuff in it. This is the 70. This is the 9140 stuff in this one. This one doesn't have any synthetic stuff in it because I didn't really. This one just is a round town car. So I'll just put my other stuff in it, keep it clean, and then I'll eventually get the 75 140, the synthetic stuff in this car. But anyways, yeah, so this is a nice little drain and fill on this car also. Totally forgot. Alrighty. PCV valve. I've always been wanting to do this. Is just an extra valve cover I had laying around. So that's hooked up, and then I started up and put my hand over this, and it is pulling a vacuum on it. It's a very slight vacuum, but it's pulling a vacuum. So that's good. And then I will take this thing for a drive here in a few and see what we're getting for like air fuel mixtures, because I've noticed sometimes when I put a PCV valve on it, it runs just a little lean, and we'll check on that. So anyways, there it is. That's what I got for this for the Beaver. You know, she's we cleaned up some of her leaking fluids. We wiped her up a little bit, and she's ready for some more abuse. Yep, but that's that. I'll be driving this thing. I do want to change that ground. I'm probably going to change that ground here. That was it's chintzy. I'll put one there. Grounds are everything on these cars, so I'll fix that, and that's that. So that's the Beaver. That's the Creamy Beaver video. Hope you enjoyed.